Hello and welcome to Radically Aligned. Oh, I'm so excited to have you on this journey with me. My name's Vicki Chisholm. I'm going to be your host. We're going to be exploring all things alignment in business and in your soul. We're going to be bringing together some amazing episodes to help you cultivate the alignment that works for you so you can have soul-aligned business success. But more importantly, we're also going to be bringing in guests for interviews so you can learn not just from me, but from experts all over the world. Are you ready? Let's go. Hello and welcome to the Radically Aligned Business Podcast. Today I am joined with the amazing Cheryl White, who I had the pleasure of meeting at an event where I showed her my business ascension cards and the magic that they bring together with business strategy. However, I'm going to let Cheryl introduce herself so you know who she is, where she's from, and what magic she brings to the world.
Oh, thanks, Vicki. Lovely to be here. So, my name's Cheryl White. I'm from Wirral, which is just by Merseyside. If you don't know by the accent, you will now. And I've got two businesses. So I've got Apollo Care Franchising Limited and Mercury Franchise School, which I'm currently rebranding to be Cheryl White Franchise Consultant. I'll tell you a little bit about my background and how I actually got into business. So I was a district nurse and palliative care nurse. Done that for 15 years, absolutely loved it. Had my first son, Dan, and suddenly I was the mum who was dropping him off at 8 o'clock in the morning. I was the mum that was rushing to get to the nursery at 6 o'clock at night because of my, I was nursing, so sometimes 12 hours a day. And I knew something had to change. I knew something had to. When you got this little person, all of a sudden they just become everything, and you need to align your life to fit in with them. So I started a home care company called Apollo. It took me 3 years to build it and to get everything, paperwork done, regulations done. Launched that in 2011 while I was still nursing. And the plan was to have 5 or 6 clients, keep it really small, and still nurse a couple of days a week. Anyway, fast forward 12 months and the business just exploded. People knew, the care that we provided was exceptional. We were getting calls literally from all over Merseyside and we couldn't keep up with it. So I decided to franchise the business, and I franchised the business very quickly in 2013. I'd only been trading for 18 months. Franchised the business and sold 3 franchises within the first 3 months of franchising. My franchise consultant went bankrupt halfway through the process and took my money with her. So I had to suddenly, it was either make or I had to try and do it myself and get the best solicitors I could and get the best advice on the shoestring budget that I had left, or the business was going to fold. So I did that. Fast forward to now, I've built a multi-million-pound franchise network across the UK. I'm just about to sign my first international license in South Africa. The business, we're providing thousands of hours of care each day to vulnerable adults living in their own homes. And we're really proud of that. And it's something that, it's the philosophy of everything we do in Apollo. I've got an amazing head office team who helped me to run that, and the best franchisees, they really are. And then about 6 years ago, somebody actually come to me and said, I follow you on social media and I want to know how you've done it with your business. So I was like, well, right, okay. So I started to chat to her and she said, would you help me to franchise mine? So I was like, I don't do that. Anyway, me being me, sat and thought about it. And I thought, yeah, well, I'll help her. So I did. And that's kind of where the Mercury Franchise School was born. And what I do now is I only ever work with 3 clients at any one time, and I franchise people's businesses for them in any industry. Me and my team of lawyers, accountants, everybody who works with me in Apollo, they come together and they all franchise that business. It's a 12-month program, and we take them from business, running the business themselves to having a really strong ethical franchise model that they can then go out and sell. And I think it's really, really important, Vicki, for me anyway, and probably for women who listen to your podcast as well. We all have great business ideas, and I think once you start one, you want to do more and more and more because you sort of get a bug for it and you want to do it. But it's really looking at how you're aligned to work and what is it. So you see this bandied about on social media constantly, and it's like, can you hit 10K months? Can you hit 15K months? All of the things, which is great if that's what people want to do. But then how do you scale that? How do you look at that and go, okay, well, I can hit 10K months now, but what happens in 10 years' time if circumstances change or if business needs change? So for me, when anybody works with me and they're looking to, franchisees or business owners, I'll say to them, well, what's the end game? What do you want to sell this business for? And how many hours do you want to work in it? So I don't want to work full time anymore. I'd probably work 10 hours tops in Apollo now because I've built that team there. And the same with the consultancy business. I literally project manage it and all the work goes out to the team. So it's looking at who you are as a person and aligning how you work to fit in with that. That's what I do. And it's really interesting because once I found out I was a projector in human design, I was like, okay, that's why I'm always knackered.
Oh, bless you. Well, it sounds like you're up to amazing things, and I totally agree. If you're not doing something in alignment, it's not going to work. Because I mean, I built up my first business and I burnt out.
Yeah.
I had a lot going on. I was dealing with family challenges. I was in an abusive relationship, and then I'd left, and I had a lot that I had to deal with. But ultimately, that business, as thriving as it was, my reputation was great. I had a good client base. Everything was brilliant, but I burnt out because I was building a vision that wasn't mine. I was building the vision that I thought I should build because that's what you do. And that's what made me realize, well, I don't want to build based on other people's version of what success is anymore. I want to build it based on what works for me. So this is why I do everything for alignment, which is why my book was born, and this podcast has been great. So thank you so much for sharing that, because the more we can get this message out there about doing things from an aligned space, the more we can save others, especially mothers. Because mum's time is even more precious than ever before. Those times when you've got those little kids, and I mean, I've got 3 children. I've basically solo parented throughout the whole thing, and well, throughout their whole lives. It's just a project now, kids, but we do have to do that. So, Cheryl, I mean, you've shared so much and you've moved into such an amazing position within your business. So what would you say to other people if they are, I mean, first of all, if they're looking to franchise, to scale, to give themselves the time freedom back, what would you say to someone as just their first tip for making that happen?
So the first thing I would always look at, Vicky, is the business able to be replicated? That's so important. So look at your business model, look at what it is that you do. And if the business can be replicated and if the business is turning over a profit, then the business can be franchised. And I'm seeing more and more. So traditionally, sort of, when somebody thinks of a franchise, they think of like a bricks and mortar business. They think of, McDonald's or Costa or wherever they think of. I'm seeing now more and more business coaches wanting to franchise. And I'm actually working with 2 business coaches at the moment and a spa to franchise. So I work with, as I say, a variety of businesses. So it's looking at that, and then it's also looking at what you want to do as a person. Do you want to keep working in the business, which is absolutely fine if you do, or do you want to come away from the day to day and just grow the business and grow the brand and then sell it at the end? It's interesting because I was at a retreat in Ibiza last year with a really successful business coach. And she actually, there was lots of people there to see her and everything else. And she got me to one side, one evening, and she said to me, Cheryl, do you know what? She said, if I don't do something, I'm going to be on Zoom when I'm 90. And I was like, exactly, and to the outside world looking at her, she looks like she's got everything, but she's just never stops working. And it's not sustainable. You can't just keep, and as you say, as soon as kids come along, then it's a different matter again, isn't it?
Yeah, so I completely agree. It's not sustainable. However, I'm just going to touch base here slightly. Some people are programmed to work.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
they can't let it go because they don't know who they'd be without that. So it becomes their identity. And this is something else that I discovered and wrote in the book as well. Like, it's okay to work.
Yeah.
God's sake, get a life as well.
Yeah, that's it. But you should be working on what you want to work on, Vicky, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, so when
Yeah,
you talk about alignment, so for me, the thought of having to get up and go online and speak to 10 people and coach them all day, that would fill me with dread. I would hate to have to do that. But other people absolutely love it. So again, it's what suits you as a person, isn't it? And some people will say, Cheryl, do you know what? I've grown a little coaching business and I absolutely love it. I don't want to grow it. It brings me enough income in, and that's okay as well. You don't have to do what everybody else is doing.
absolutely not. And franchising isn't going to be for everybody either. So
Absolutely not.
it's not a case of, so actually that's something that we can chat about. Who is a franchise not for?
So a franchise is not for somebody who, well, as we spoke about before, who's got a business that can't be replicated.
Yeah.
So sometimes businesses will come to me and say they're interested in franchising, and when I look at it, they wouldn't be able to teach what they do to other people. It
No.
wouldn't work. I think as well, a franchise, it would be very difficult for someone who likes control of everything. So you can meet people who just can't let go of that control. Um, and if I'm being totally honest, Vicky, when I franchised Apollo, that was difficult for me. The first 6 months of seeing other people with my brand and my baby and going out and doing what and being me in their areas, it was really hard. And I got a little bit, well, I wouldn't do it like that. So I think that it has got to be a personality type. It's got to be somebody who loves to lead. It's got to be somebody who loves to manage a team. And it's got to be somebody that's very forward thinking as well. So thinking of new services for your franchisees and always thinking about how your brand can stay ahead of the game. So if you're the person who likes to do everything in your business, and again, that's absolutely fine, or you've got no big aspirations to grow, then franchising wouldn't be for you at all.
Yeah. And I get that as well. Thank you. My daughter's just brought me a cup of tea.
Oh, lovely.
Keeping it real, keeping it real.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like anything, isn't it? When it comes to alignment, not everything is going to be for everybody. But for those that are listening in, they might be intrigued a little bit more about franchising and how they can scale their business through a franchise model rather than traditional methods. So, for example, one of the things that I'm going to be franchising probably in the next year will be my certification,
Yeah.
because my students are on a mentoring program, and then once they've done that, they are then able to go and teach as me. So that's something that I'm looking at franchising, because that makes sense to me, because it's other people learning how to do things, and that's just really good fun. So through all the franchises there are in the world, I don't know all of them. We know that McDonald's is a franchise. We know that KFC and the fast food chains are franchises. We know that there is definitely lots of coaching franchises out there. So what other terms of franchise? I mean, there's networking franchises as well, isn't there?
Mhm.
What other franchises have you seen that are maybe a little bit out there, a little bit different?
I was talking to a lady actually. I go to EWIF, which is called it's encouraging women into franchising, and I go to their regional meetings every quarter. I was talking to a lady the other day, and she's actually a franchisee, so she's not a franchisor. She's bought into this franchise model, and it's a slime factory for kids. It was absolutely brilliant, the concept of it, what she was telling me. And they set up in warehouses and they build these slime factories for kids to go and create and make slime, and she's doing all sorts of glitter stuff and everything else. That's probably one of the wackiest ones I've heard of, but I thought it was brilliant. And what I love, Vicky, now is that people with businesses who have never even considered franchising are thinking, actually, do you know what?
Yeah.
It really could work for me. And I love it. It's great, and last year I franchised a spiritual academy. So it's an online business, and they do lots of Reiki, and they do in person and online stuff as well. And I helped a lady to franchise that. And for me, when I'm looking at franchises, because as I say, I only work with 3 people at any one time, so I have to turn people away because I have to choose who I'm going to work with, and again, who you're aligned to work with.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so when I'm looking at a business to work with, I always think, what impact is that going to have? So if I was working with somebody and I thought, you know what, in the next 10 years, if they had 20 franchises across the UK, what impact would this be creating? Because I love to work with impact businesses. I'm working with a lady at the moment who is a menopause and women's health coach. So she's got a accreditation and we're franchising that as part of their franchise. And for me, you know, the amount of women that's going to help who are going through that menopause stage, and you know, she talks about fitness and nutrition and all of the things, which is why I'm now sat here in gym clothes because I listened actually to what she said. So I think sort of those service-based and impact-led businesses are really coming to the forefront now, where
Yeah.
people are realizing that there's a huge need for them.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's a really good way for those that want to lead as well, isn't it? To be
Yeah,
able to say, well, this is what I've created. I've shown you that it's a tangible thing. So and it's actually a good way for people to come in and start their entrepreneurial journey as well,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
So the ripple effect of a franchise is just, it's
Huge,
so phenomenal.
huge.
So I am quite weary with some franchising, mainly because some of them come under the MLM banner.
Yeah.
Um, so what would you say to someone before they considered looking at franchising their business?
Look at so before you consider doing it, research the team you're going to be working with to do it with. So under my team, we've got all of my team are BFA members, which is the British Franchise Association. We're all BFA members. My lawyer is on the board of the BFA, so you know we're very, very ethical in what we do.
Mm.
So look at that team and what are they going to bring to the table for you to franchise your business. So you need to have a really robust bespoke legal agreement. That's your most important thing, Vicky, when you're going to
Absolutely.
franchise.
Mm.
I see people popping up and calling their businesses franchises and they haven't got franchise agreements and they're just leaving themselves wide open to be sued. Um, Look at who you're going to work with for the accountancy side. So my accountant Mark, BFA accredited, when somebody comes to work with me, he'll produce a set of projection figures that they can then present in an FDD, which is a financial disclosure document, to
Mm.
potential franchisees coming on board so they can see potentially what they could earn in year 1, 2, and 3, which is really important because if you're asking for an initial fee, you know, they want to know, okay, well, what's the return on investment and that? When am I going to make that back? And then what do I have to pay you ongoing? And how's that going to fit into the projections? And you should be able to present all of that to them in the inquiry stage. So
Yeah,
for me, it's really important to look at who you're going to be working with.
absolutely. And I think that's an important part of anything though, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
like when you onboard a client, it's really important that you don't just onboard them for the sake of the sale. It's a
yeah,
bit like, I believe that if you do it from an aligned perspective, things will flow much easier. If
yeah.
you've got those, this isn't feeling right, trust it and flip and listen to that gut
Yeah.
instinct.
Yeah.
Just
And
listen.
yeah, I think we've all been burned by that, Vicky, as well, haven't we?
Yeah,
You know, where you've sort of
absolutely.
red flagged, you know, and I've had it with franchisees, you know, I've thought, oh, you know, they're not right. And then the team have said to me, well, give them a chance. And then I'm like, okay, we'll give them a chance. And we've had to terminate 18 months later because it's not right for them and it's not right for us. Where
Mhm.
now we all get together especially in the Apollo team, and we listen to that gut instinct and we say, you know, can we work with this person for the next 5 years? That's the most important thing. Because my minimum term in Apollo is a 5-year license term. And if we can't, then you know, we have to back away from it.
Absolutely. But then you've also got the other side of the coin there. I mean, 5 years is a long commitment. So, and people aren't always they're not always as easy to read as you would like. So then you end up dealing with situations and things that you hadn't envisioned because they were so good at masking in the first place. So when it
Yeah,
comes to people, you've really just got to do your due diligence as much as you can, but just
so
take every learning curve that comes with you. But Cheryl, listen, I've absolutely loved chatting with you today. I've not had anyone come on the podcast that's spoken about franchising before, so it's really, really lovely to have you here with us. If you could give someone a final word or tip for moving forward, what would you say?
So my final tip, Vicky, would be to always plan ahead. So sit and think, okay, what do you want your business, but also what do you want your life to look like in the next 12 months?
Yeah.
And if you're not aligned to that now, and what you're doing now isn't going to help you achieve that, then you need to look at something now and start to plan.
Absolutely. I love that. And that's so in alignment with the conversation we've just had this morning inside the Radically Aligned Business Membership. And we've actually decided to say that today, May is the manifesting May month of the year. So go and get your dreams and ambitions written down, get deeper clarity, get to know what it is that you truly want, let go of the external bullshit and just really tap into who you are. Thank you so much for sharing that, Cheryl. It's been absolutely wonderful to have you on the show. Where can people find you?
So you can find me at mercuryfranchiseschool.com, which is the website, soon to be Cheryl White Franchise Consultant, and also over on LinkedIn and Instagram under Mercury Franchise School or Cheryl White.
Oh, brilliant. Well, make sure you go give her a follow, check her out, and go and see what you can learn from her in terms of franchising and scaling your business.
Thanks, Vicki.
Oh, you're welcome. It's been a pleasure to have you. See you all in the next episode. That's a wrap for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit subscribe and we'll see you in the next one. All these episodes are created in line with my book, Radically Aligned. Go check it out on Amazon, grab a copy and let's get you started. At the back of the book, they'll also find a QR code where you'll get access to some amazing resources. You don't want to miss it. See you in the next episode.